forces who are bracing up for the worst. My panel of analysts in this edition of the program include Victor Tuturotas, Daniel Pewa, and Peter Sise. Gentlemen, welcome to Inside Media.
Thank you. Good morning. Good to be here.
On Wednesday, what was expected to be the return through the parliamentary procedures of the proportional representation system since 1996, between 1996 and 2002, the instrument was supposed to be laid, well, it ended up being laid by the Deputy Minister of Justice, Umaru Napoleon Kuruma. That was to mark the beginning of the legal procedures of what has been proposed to be the next process in the conduct of the 2023 presidential and parliamentary conduct of our elections. The PR system has brought again another brawl amongst our parliamentarians, especially the country's two main political parties, the APC and the SNPP. That moment has been, from the start of this hunk parliament, a bad one, and it continues to with fighting in this current generation of our parliament, lawmakers. That Wednesday, the parliamentarians went into blows and destroyed properties that were supposed to be the fountain of honor for the country, the legislature, and their own sittings. Let's get into this discussion. Let me start with Daniel Pewa. However, all of them, Peter and Victor, followed the incident on Facebook, on WhatsApp, other social media platforms, and as well as the news broadcast on the different mainstream media platforms, television, radio, and newspapers also carried that. Let me hear from you.
Thank you very much, Salia. Basically, it is not peculiar with the Sierra Leone Parliament, where we used to see members of parliament going at each other physically or verbally. But what was very absurd on that particular day, or that fateful day, like you alluded, was the fact that that particular instrument could have been a debate that will have set the stage for our electioneering, more especially so the forthcoming election that we are awaiting come 2023. Unfortunately, I think whether another school of thought will say there were lack of consultation. But for me as an individual, and for many other right-thinking Sierra Leoneans, I think the parliamentarians did not do us justice. They were very, of course, when I listened to the speaker, he did say that it was an affront on his person, and at the same time on the dignity of parliament. I will go further or beyond to say that it was an affront on the electorates of this country, who actually voted them to represent them in that particular sacred institution. Well, for a discourse of such nature, we were expecting parliamentarians to deliberate on the said instrument or bill and ensure that the needful is done before ever we could go to the 2023 elections. Unfortunately, they resorted to something else, hooliganism, like you did say, which to us as civil society and the people of this country, we did not see this as a credible representation of the people. When it comes to elections, it is either the PR system or the first past the post system. But when you look at our political landscape, how porous polarized it is, how toxic it is being, how regionally we are divided, many pundits who agree to the fact that indeed it is the PR system that will answer our questions or address our divide going forward. When you look at the cost effectiveness of the PR system, you look at its ability to actually unify the regions. Well, I will not talk about tribalism, because as far as I know, there is no tribalism in Sierra Leone, even though politicians continue to, use it as a yardstick or denominator for their arguments. But for me and for many other Sierra Leoneans, the PR system is cost effective when you think of, the huge chunk of money involved in conducting by-elections and the like. And like I did say, if we want to unify Sierra Leone, the region, I think the PR system will be the answer to our questions.
Okay,
but
let me go. Yes.
But where politicians, for obvious reasons, they see this as a kind of militating ploy that will disadvantage them to come to State House or to, be elected as a member of Parliament come 2023. But you look at the broader picture. Yes, I agree to the fact that to every advantage you must have, the disadvantage. But the cost-benefit analysis, when you are, look into them, I think the PR system will be the panacea for the divide, the toxic, the hates we've been seeing when it comes to politics.
But unfortunately, we don't see the politicians, Victor, looking that direction, especially in the opposition. However, though, you will not say it is only the opposition politicians or the opposition MPs. If you gauge views and opinions, even within the ruling party, people who want to become members of parliament or who want to become councillors, if you speak to them, some of them will challenge this system, because for some of them, they know they don't have a chance. They don't have the chance. But let us look at it again on the flip side. When it came to their welfare, the MPs were elected. But on this national discourse, as always, they are divided.
Many times I always say this when I'm on platform, that we have greedy politicians, very selfish. They always prove our cases as against them, that they are selfish, they are working for their own self and not the people. Let me start where you ended. That when it comes to their personal affairs, their welfare, they are very more concerned and unanimous to see that it works. They will break whatever ice. It's only that they have been unfortunate this time around, because the awareness of politics these days by the ordinary people is beyond, and it has become very much challenging by the ordinary people now compared to before, where there have been fear. The NPO are not for talk that whole day. So that world is not much in existence again, but rather to go into the social media and other devices have urged people to be very much curious to bring points wherein have been failed before this time. How can you, when they think of the cupboard allowance, wardrobe allowance, they were very much aggressive, not until people stood very firm with the ordinary people, or else they would have been taken home almost the entire remaining cash for the country.
Who knows if that had been passed?
No, it was never.
Surreptitiously?
No, it was never. No.
The number of times that had happened in Parliament. So
yes, that one I can see.
Things are passed through the Parliament.
Sure. That particular one.
I remember the last days of ex-president Alex Bayokoroma, before the 2018 elections, bills were passed or agreements were
at midnight. Overnight. At midnight. Oh yes, the took it. Yeah, we have examples of that. But let me come back to.
And then when you for the speaker,
exactly. Let me come back. The country back on this it has become a kind of culture now, or tradition. This percentage commission or whatsoever has led the parliamentarians that we run after you helter-skelter. The moment they get to that seat, you are forgotten. They now be for themselves. PR system, I've debated on that on many occasions, laying the premise like what Pewa was just talking of, the gains for which PR system can do. But PR system is not new. And the issue that brought this PR
system provided for by the Constitution.
By the Constitution.
Indeed.
And it has taken place in this country. It is not new to them. And it's because this very MPs...
Don't you think if it were the SLPP in opposition, they would have also opposed to this?
That's what you talk. I'm talking about politicians generally. So, if ever, that would have happened, we are just laying the premise. It has happened before, that the very PR system, it has existed in the reign of...
1996 and 1992, 2002.
Yes. So, if these politicians are there, some are still in parliament, and they know about this issue very well, and they are there to see that they go back to their constituencies to educate their people, for which it is very lacking. They are not doing it at all. They come and table issues parliament, and they don't go to consult their
constituents.
Yes, for them to know from there if they can support or not. They will come and agree, and at the end of the day, in fact, many don't go to their constituencies, in fact. So now that kind of attitude, they now see themselves like saying, if the PR comes, automatically I'm out. So with that kind of vision they have now, has led to all these confrontations. Now they came down using almost part of their resources to galvanize people to support their motion. But it's like this motion being brought down for people to, much have been learned, so much was not followed. So it's like now saying, well, if I'm not following, we say they go fair to your fair na parliament now. That's just like that. So, but it was unfortunate.
So you mean the mind game they played on the people to gain sympathy from the public did not work?
It did not work. So they took the bull by the horn now. Imagine. Imagine a whole deputy minister trying to lay the document at the means.
Does it matter?
No, I'm coming.
Does it matter who did?
No, who did. But I'm talking about
it should come from that sector.
Yes, it came from that sector. But I'm just putting them in summary what took place. And in that process, imagine a flower,
the maize.
Yes, sending it right down. I think that would have hit that. The deputy minister by then we must have said.
You wouldn't know if it did.
Okay, if ever, then we saw the kind of confrontation. People that rushed at the place there to destroy the document. Now their names have been out, and we saw again at Radio Democracy. It was like a clear court. They were Abdul Fatoma being the neutral person, and the SLPP rep and the APC rep. They were there, and when they went through the process as to what took place, came out for the opposition member to apologize on behalf, even while he was struggling to bring out the fact which Abdul Fatoma clearly talked of. I cannot be in a government bus, and be at the last seat. I see more than whosoever, because I oversee all of you seated in front of me. So for the opposition to say, I did not really see something come out when he was seated at the back, according to him. So that explanation alone, at the end of the day, apologize.
So you mean that is not remorseful?
Yes.
So I'm not even ready to be remorseful.
Now the clerk of parliament has come out with names through the speaker
for
investigation that these people were clearly seen. And Honorable Banadela, who can recall when she too was in parliament, something came up for which there was a kind of apartheid destruction. She has to pay when she was about to.
Oh, really?
That record is there.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So
the precedent is there.
Yes, there's a precedent. So now, if they are going through investigation to come and see who actually did this particular act, with the kind of thing, the kind of weapons that are coming all over from different angles, Let's wait for investigation. But
Alright.
it was very unfortunate.
Peter, notable names among the alleged perpetrators for that violent act in Parliament on Wednesday include Honorable Aaron Kuruma, my good friend from my 91, the Honorable from Kwenadugu,
Mara,
Honorable Mara, and Honorable Abdul Karim Kamara from Gambia, Honorable AKK, and one driver who is not even a member of Parliament. Notable name.
how did you get there?
It's a question altogether. So you start asking.
Want to fight
The
for his
speaker has over the period want people that you are only visitors. Only the MPs are allowed to be. You are only to be seen as a visitor and not to be heard. Strangers.
Exactly.
Are we agreeing with some people who think this speaker is not in total control of this hung parliament, as significant as it is to right the wrongs of the laws that go through the legislative
Cannot
house?
be too many other places.
Are we agreeing with some people?
I don't really want to think that he's not in absolute control. What probably has been banking on is to play a safe balance as to how, like a father, you can mediate or arbitrate between two kids. So he has been maintaining that delicate balance to ensure that nobody's going to cast blame or aspersion that he is for this party or this color. You understand? That has been
Well, he has always been in that middle of accusation.
yeah, but what we must put as prime focus here is the danger these so-called honorable members of parliament are sort of placing morality of the nation to. We have to be mindful of the fact that accessing the social media now hasn't got a barrier even to our kids, which is to say, if videos go viral, expect them to be opportune also to go through those ugly incidents, you understand? But one thing you begin to ask yourself, what will the kids learn from your violent conduct, your misuse or your blatant use of invectives? You are beginning to see a society in which we are almost giving license to more than invectives. It's becoming common. Before this time it was like a taboo to hear somebody even threatening to say, I will use this invective on your mom. It was sounding like a taboo before this time, but now it's just becoming so common.
Generational change.
So yes, so if we expect you guys to be the epitome of law, to be the lawmakers, I think in my candid opinion, they have to think around how they can reshape some of the laws, the so-called SOPs, standard of
procedures.
yes.
That's standing orders.
Yes.
I think they are on that right now. If not in that already.
They need to change, because much as they are given privileges as parliamentarians,
The opportunity.
they cannot begin to imagine themselves being
Let me
above
ask
the
you
law.
one question. Is there no law preventing people from killing others? But yet still people go ahead and kill their colleagues, their friends, their loved ones.
From the Bible.
Yes, killing is a crime. You see, that brings me to what
The point you raised about having the standard operating procedures or standing orders, does that mean, does that define someone's character?
no, basically what I intend saying is that
Or emotions?
what I intend saying is that if we have laws generally meant to punctuate our actions or activities to keep the peace in the society as a whole, let us ensure that we do not have a set of people that will begin to deem themselves as being above the laws because they are lawmakers. Let us have a situation in which parliamentarians can sort of part with their seat in parliament. But you know, one concrete thing,
Peter, the exact reason I asked that question, because I spoke to a member of parliament yesterday around the end. He told me there are laws guiding exclusively certain things you are bound not to say or do in parliament. There are laws, internal laws surrounding their conduct. But that is why I asked if the speaker we should agree with the views of other people, is in control of this parliament.
So let us also be mindful of the fact that the speaker is a man from a legal background with wealth of experience. To begin to imagine that he is not abreast with the standard, the SOPs
Is he in
of the
control
law.
of being abreast?
No, I'm coming. You can only find somebody guilty of an offense that exists. In my candid opinion, what I know will trigger the parting of parliamentarians with their seat is when you are absent for 30 days.
Without any,
you understand?
without excuse.
So fine.
But that's not just
It's not
it's not just limited to that.
I'm just being suspicious because
he's giving his view.
because this is not the first time that we have got these same guys behaving in such a reckless manner.
The exact reason I ask is Lawmaker is in control because the Omen has been bad from the onset since his own election as Speaker of Parliament. The Omen has always been bad. Up to the time the MPs were sworn in and some were whisked out of the
In this same form.
till date. Who knows how much or how long.
I was privileged to listen to one, I think, honorable man that was saying there are certain privileges they are entitled to. You can shout as much as to the roof of the building.
Not just be arrested.
It's permissible. But there are certain things, in my opinion, that shouldn't be done. Because imagine the mess that has to be the symbol of authority being thrown with that type of strength, and you still begin to think that there is a law that should prohibit them.
No.
If there is a law that definitely will get them or kick them out of parliament, I don't think they will even want to be tempted to go and take that path.
Just a quick. I know what Peter is saying.
And then when that action is taken, now investigations are on by the CID.
Yes.
And expect now actions to be taken against those MPs whose names have been called.
Their defense is already. Let me conclude.
Peter is on his leg.
And then they will start playing the mind games again.
Let me conclude.
To buy the emotions of the
same
public.
thing.
You see, their defense is always around the fact that we are voted for by our electorate. So we are here for 5 years. But what about the number one man, the office of the president? There are certain things that will trigger people to impeach him out of office. So they shouldn't have immunity or the thought that they must be there for the rest of their life or for the rest of 5 years. And
Let me ask this question before we close these arguments. We have other issues to look at. Is this the democracy we want? Is this how we want to develop Sierra Leone? When the house that is supposed to fix the problems of this country, to start with, the law-making body, the legislative house, is behaving in such manner? Is this how we want to develop as a country? Is this the democracy we want? I'll start with you, Victor. 1 minute.
Yes, I mean, we live on their laws. They put the laws together. And the custodian of the law doesn't mean that they must misuse it, because if just a single person, a boy in the street, can steal a mobile and is taken to prison without any value, can even
Or destroy
property. Yes, you are arrested immediately. And they put this law. Then they in the House of Parliament, we are in people's taxpayers' money being used in that particular place, and you just destroy that like that. Think you can go scot-free? No, there must be an example to serve as a deterrent.
Okay.
Very strong example.
Daniel.
It is sad, it is unfortunate, because for us as citizens, we see the honorable members of parliament as a mirror in which society should be able to look at and reflect their actions. So if that institution, a sacred institution charged with the responsibility of formulating laws and policies, going into bilateral and multilateral agreement with donor partners or other countries, conducting themselves in such a manner, then you ask yourself, how are the boys at Cooltown Road will behave at the end of the day? So for us, it is not a good signal. They are not sending, I mean, this parliament happens to be one of the most youthful parliaments, and you begin to say that before now they will say old men 60, 65 years were the ones occupying parliament. But now government, the citizens have given the privileges to youthful, individuals to ensure that they are. But the way they are conducting themselves, I don't think it is good for us. We cannot continue on that subject.
Peter, is this the democracy we want? Is this the way we want to develop our country?
Not at all.
When the house is supposed to fix the problems to start with,
are the ones perpetrating it.
So this is definitely not the type of ugly picture that we want to send out to people.
Bottom approach.
Because the law is there to regulate our conduct generally, and if what is being laid before you falls within the circle of the law, that you must first have a 3/3 majority to refute it or to kick it out. But just because you don't have that strength of number, you think you must translate. Yes, it's bad.
But please take note that the APC has the majority right now in parliament with about 59 seats.
But that will not qualify against
the SLPP's 58.
And somebody
plus 8 C4C members and 4 NC. We have Parliament chief MPs and about 3 or 4 independent MPs in Parliament.
So quickly, Patrick, if we can make a quick retrospection, you will never have in the past a moment wherein the SLPP parliamentarians were throwing weapons when they were not happy with a bill.
That is their way of disagreeing.
March out. So why is it that we want to begin to send out ugly pictures that
do you need to have a tailor-made way of agreeing or disagreeing?
No, but that barbaric way of doing things, that jingoistic behavior should be behind time now.
All right.
By virtue of
while the MPs, whom we look forward to fixing the problems of the state, were behaving or misbehaving in the manner of hooligans, Justice Stephen Fisher was busy at the High Court number 1, delivering judgment on the APC contempt matter of Alfred Peter Conte, interim chairman of the All People's Congress, who started his duty on Friday, 5th May 2022 as the caretaker chairman of the APC until a substantive executive body of the party is elected. Alfred Peter Conte is said to have acted contrary to the orders of the High Court passed by Justice Adrian Fisher earlier this year. Now, some other members of the party took him to court for contempt for violating those orders of the High Court, the raft of orders. Now, he has been fined 50 million, he has been convicted, he has been sentenced, he has been found guilty of contempt. Fined 50 million, so served 30 days in prison in that regard, pending affidavit, which he is supposed to file. APC. We're looking now that people are speculating they go to convention in January. Lower level elections have to be conducted, but they are still far from reaching that. Some people are even speculating more confusion to erupt within the party by the look of things now. Is there hope for them? Victor?
It sounds very interesting to see Peter, the APC name, Alfred Peter Conte, meaning APC, haven't, got a kind of platform to get the aged heads to roll out, and I was expected to form a party wherein we at least incorporate young people and see that their laws are being changed, not under that kind of authoritative manner as they have been crying with
they have a new constitution now, which is not authoritative.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying.
More democratic.
I'm talking about his background as he came in, and now what have been their problem all this while they've been struggling with has been the interpretation of what Honorable Justice Fisher rightly gave out. That has been their struggle. This gave his own view about it, that gives his own view about it. So they have been giving views around the whole process, gambling as to how it should be. So at the end of the day, so many suspicion that he want to enroll or bring back members that have not been there before, or at a status wherein they are not expecting, and others are crying for their own. They are now in divisions, in part, in groups, and each and every group wants his.
There are always factions within the political party.
Oh yes. So this one have been massive. With that fight, it came in for another group to say, you know what, if we are still on this struggle, then we to go back to court. And going back to court, this what has ended as a result. And we saw them jubilating, going back to the party office, because what they have been aiming at, some for them they've achieved, some for them they are still on the pipeline, some for them they want to see another face. So this is the kind of divisions they are right now. So meaning the future seems to be bleak for now till they really put themselves in order. But at the end of the day, Peter, if not satisfied, will be thinking of coming back to court, and this court proceeds whilst they are being targeted for January. And if, only if, they don't put their house in order now as against January, which is at the next door, very soon will be in January, there is a problem.
And we're very close to elections. However, contrary to that, contrary to Victor's pessimism, they now have an interim elections governance chairman in the person of astute legal practitioner Ibrahim Sori Zikuruma or Kamara, who is now the interim elections management committee chairman of the very APC, because among the ruling, within the ruling of Justice Adrian Fisher, within 72 hours they were supposed to have set up a special committee of 5 who should take the party to those lower level elections and convention eventually. So Daniel, you see the APC within the time frame. Now we are very close to elections.
It is often said that he who comes for justice must come with clean hands, and I see this particular judgment by the Honorable Justice Fisher as a kind of knee-jerk for APC. Why am I saying this? It has given them another opportunity to consolidate, and at the same time to look beyond factionalism and what we call sections within the party. I think
Do you see that happening?
that is why I said this is another knee-jerk for
I ask that because the initial orders given by Justice Adrian Fisher did not state a Secretary General position to run the affairs of the party.
At all.
He only said there should be a secretary,
yes,
a secretary
Yes.
to the committee.
to the committee.
But later on, that position was diverted to something else. Secretary General as secretary.
Exactly.
So the interpretation has been their problem.
You see, they did not follow the directives of the courts. I must say that. But where Peter got it wrong was, for him, it was
Unilateral decision.
exactly not just that.
Because that's what
there were a lot of issues that went wrong, but he did not take it to the courts or to the judge. Unlike his open, where the big six, I would say, the big six sought interpretation from the courts. For him, he did not. He was complacent, of everything. So that is why he had himself, coming in conflict with, the law, or finding himself in that quagmire. But what is key here? I think it has given the judge has given a second chance or another chance.
The judge said in his ruling he's still in charge.
He's still in charge.
Whoever does not feel
comfortable with him,
then should resign.
Yes.
Take an exit door. But what is key? You talked about, he did not say quorum. I think he referred to majority.
Yeah.
That majority did not mean if Peter did not come, or this one come. So yes, whatever
So out
decision.
of 5, if 2 come, if 3 comes,
Yes,
So basically, they need to do their work well. But what is more important at this particular time is for them to forget about factional, or sects within the party and work for the general good of the party. If they are trying to promote
the interest of one person,
the interest of an individual as against the other, they will not be there till 2023.
Your name, let me hear from you.
I like that. Honestly, I am in absolute sympathy with the plight of
Your namesake.
no, APC.
The party.
Yeah, the party.
Generally,
You understand? The reformers initially,
And the SLPP will be happier.
Oh yes, give them the green ticket.
the reformers really had a genuine intention of reforming their party. So they thought the best to do was to go to the court
And
to
seek
seek
redress.
redress. And we expect every court ruling according to law to be the judge-made laws. It becomes a law for that moment. What the APC faction, or one faction of the APC was missing, was the strength of the position of Peter Alfred Conte as the head of that set. Because you can agree with me that when that ruling came initially, a lot of video evidences were coming out. Oh, we have the greater majority. We are 12, they are 9. So from that very onset, they started putting knife.
wrong, yes.
Yeah, they started putting knife between that was unite them. You understand? So again, like my brother last said, they got it wrong. There is an ambiguity around what they refer to as majority, because they had a situation in which Peter Alfred Conte can authorize a meeting or call a meeting, and in his candid opinion, if 9 or 8 of his members
Out of the 21.
are present,
the meeting.
in his opinion or interpretation
From
from
the
the
majority.
yes, because at that moment 9 are in attendance.
And
so out of 9,
it's
if
favor.
5 will be in favor, that's it all. Whereas the other
He's
side,
now seen, however, like I said, the APC will be happier. He's now seen by some other factions of the APC to have been used by the ruling party.
I don't want to think the ruling party has got an instrumental role.
They will not have gotten, but that is what some members of the APC now have been considering.
And they are even accusing the president.
That's an exciting question.
No, but they are accusing.
Yes,
It is not a secret. It's not a secret. They are accusing the president that he is using Peter Conte to,
Patrick,
You expect us
to be very honest, we have people that are just deliberately wanting to shy away from the truth. Yeah, the truth of the matter here is that it says the old folks, the likes of the Anis by Kuruma, are still behind the curtain, wanting to remote control these
Do you have
guys.
any evidence to that?
Yes, you see the likes of the Abdul Conte representing the voice of the old regime.
Yes.
You understand?
And until
we have these old folks, saving their integrity, protecting their respect,
behind the scene.
and beginning to imagine themselves as headline statement, let go of these guys to take over. They are always going to condemn
behind
them,
the scenes, strong
because they think if they stay there and now get their boys into the system,
they are still working.
control.
Is that the reason? Is the destabilization within the APC the reason we're not getting constructive opposition in our governance system?
Oh, yes.
Because the attention, their attention is more focused
On the internal,
who should be in charge.
yes.
So why they are
Internal,
focusing on who should be in
Unlike
charge?
the
Is that
national
not
right now.
is that not the reason some of their members are accusing the president and the ruling government?
No, that's not. But when they are falling, you say anything.
I will not lean in that direction. To me, APC deliberately changed their strategy. And what they have employed as a strategy now is their strength on social media through propaganda or use of invectives. That's just an ugly way. In fact, that will strengthen the resolve of certain people to say, because of this and that, we will not associate. Yes,
And that statement came from the back of the parliament.
that strategy is wrong.
Meanwhile, Kush is becoming the order of the day, taking over the nation, destroying the future and development of our youthful and strong young men and women in society.
And security forces.
The security forces are bracing up, especially the police and the military, whose personnel have recently been spotted, well, to be highly indulged into consuming these drugs, especially Kush. Dismissals have taken place and continue to take place under the leadership of Inspector General of Police William Fayaselu. The military is also doing likewise. Now, this has become a concern, a matter of serious concern for that matter. Religious leaders are pairing up or teaming up with other activists to fight against the menace. Gentlemen, in our limited time, let me hear from the three of you how much you think this will be a success. Could dismissal of this personnel militate or deter the others from consuming it? Or what do you think in the first place is the responsible factor? Peter, let me start with you on this. You have always been interested and vociferous about against the consumption or increased intake of Kush especially.
Yes, to be very honest, I think a lot of our young guys are wanting to use the shortcut in aggrandizing wealth or accumulating wealth. You understand? If only they can give...
Putting others on answering?
Yes, if only they can rethink and embrace the move by the new direction government to strengthen the middle level manpower, wherein you begin to go and learn skills. You will not have people thinking that to be in the sales of Kush, to be trafficking drugs, you can quickly get yourself rich overnight.
Is it about getting job or it's about the mindset? Because we just mentioned about people who earn salaries, military personnel who earn salaries.
You see, Patrick, before the consumption of the drug, there has to be the trafficking. There has to be the smuggling of the drugs through our porous borders. You understand? I have been in association with people that will tell you they do most of these things in connivance with some of the security personnel, I would say. You understand? So when once you get these things in, and one ugly thing about this so-called Kush is that the manifestation of the evidence is quick to be seen from your outward posture.
The moment
you understand? Because yes, it has something to do with the mental capturing of everything that has to do with your reasoning. So most of you see them occupying a static position or the bent position. And
one good thing about consuming Kush is that it strengthens the legs.
The legs. They are very powerful.
And it makes you static.
Yeah, and make you static. Let me hear from you.
Pato, this is very important, very, very serious. I think it should be treated as an emergency. I came from...
so we should declare a state of emergency on this?
Against Kush. I came from Cambia yesterday. I took a bike from Shell to take me down to, Brookfields. Along Morgan Street, in between Patton Street and Mountain Court, the street itself, the guy ran out of fear. So he wanted to buy a liter of fuel that is sold at 22,000
on black market.
Yes. The guy that was selling the fuel was in this static position.
You just connected.
They were trying to wake that man for more than 2 minutes. He could not wake up. So it is sad. And this is where we want to thank some entrepreneurs. Alhaji Sidibe that wants Sarah Stars, buses, and Pavi Forts, Ali Mubari, they are now embarking on rehabilitating those guys and making them productive, giving them sustainable livelihood, employment. So I think these are the type of people government needs to collaborate with.
To work on that emergency, which is...
So that at the end of the day, because at the end of the day it will be liability to government, to the state. Yeah. Imagine such people having relationship with our their opposite sex, and having kids. It will mean more burden on the free health care to cater for those people. So Alhaji Sidibe, operating the Sega Stars transportation and that of Private Fort Construction Company, are now coming together to ensure that they weed out those guys, give them the training, and then employ them for a
rehabilitation
life. So we want to thank them for that.
You're last to speak on this.
The government should come out very strong to see that, those coming in with these items from entering into the country must be traced. Because the security personnel...
Are the systems working?
That's what I'm saying. What should happen?
It may not be 100%.
What should happen now? Because when you talk about the human capital for which the president stand on to see the development of this country, will not relent to see a kind of destructive element around it. So in doing so, he has to come out very strong and see that whosoever found wanting must be brought to book. The legal aid board has brought these guys, this is Kush, that are, this clique. They've met at the office.
Operators.
They've met. They've given us all the clue. In fact, those who get these things in the country, the legal aid board work in partnership with so many institutions.
So the legal aid board should
so
be able to...
So the legal aid board... Yes. And the fair legal come out. Now, I was asked yesterday by one that you people brought us, you put us on camera, you give all the information. Yes. So now you have not got any
ready for them.
Yes, a countrywide campaign which we can lead and see that I will take our people off this thing. So now they are calling on legal aid board that they will trust legal aid board
to champion that.
To come out. So legal aid board in collaboration with the youth ministry,
and that's what CDB and their statistics.
The entire country will have their statistics at hand. For each one you address what you have as a paper or whatsoever. Right. So if legal aid board can work in collaboration with the ministry, with other partners
and the security forces,
police and then we can see the headway for this particular thing.
Thank you, Victor. Yes. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Victor Tutu Rodas. Thank you, Daniel Pera, and thank you, Peter Sise, for your time in the program today. Thank you to my producer, Lucien Gana. Thank you to my control board operator, Sedesi Makovori. My camera operator has been Salifu Olu James Kamara, the Limba Creole boy who has been behind the cameras. Thank you very much. I've been your host, Patrick Salia. Thank you for your time. Sitting at home, in your business places, or wherever you've taken time to watch us, stay tuned to this program as always. Every weekend we're here to discuss national issues, topical ones. Thank you, and have a splendid weekend. Goodbye for now.
They're trying their best to stop our progress with bad propaganda. I mean the foreign press. Bad things are blown out of proportion and spread all around. But the good things of the island they will never mention.